Alright, so this video is going to show us how to macro any of the weapon skills, including swordsmanship, mace fighting, fencing, or archery, and also tactics as well. Tactics will go a little bit slower than the actual weapon skills, but it will GM as well. This also works for wrestling. But with wrestling, you don't actually need a weapon, so it's a little bit easier to set up. So with that being said, you're going to need two characters for this one again. One of them is actually going to be the one that you want to be gaining the skill on, and the other one is the one you're going to be hitting. So the one that you're going to be hitting, you need to set up a macro basically just to heal themselves, and so you're going to need healing and anatomy on this character. So in order for you to do that, you just want to have a bandage self macro. Then you can do a sleep for a certain amount of time. You can actually even do it shorter than that. You could do a sleep of the minimum time if you want, so 750 milliseconds, and then loop, and then you just save it. You'll want to have a lot of bandages on you. Overnight, you're probably going to end up using about 2,000 bandages. So if you're going to be doing this while you're going to work or when you're going to sleep, try to have about 2,000 bandages on the character that's going to be getting hit. One thing to remember too is to make sure that you group the characters, otherwise they're going to go gray and get guard whacked immediately. So group the characters and enable group PvP on both of them. There we go. So now both of them are group PvP consented. So for the second character, you would think you could just attack, but there's one thing that you want to do actually, is you want to make a macro and have a whole bunch of weapons in your bag. So if you're going to be training swordsmanship, the ideal one to use is a skinning knife. If you're going to be training mace fighting, then the ideal one is going to be using a pickaxe. And if you're training fencing, then you can just use a dagger. The reason for this is because these kind of do very little damage and hit very fast, so you're going to get lots of gains without necessarily killing your other character. Archery, you're going to have to use just a regular bow, and it's going to hit pretty hard once you start getting up high in tactics. So just be aware of that you might actually end up killing your character every once in a while if you're training up archery. But you just have to rise up and get back to it. So that being said, what you want to do here is, first take your weapons. So I'm going to be training, say, swordsmanship on this character, and first thing I want to do is actually right click each of them and click toggle default. And what that's going to do is switch the action to equip as opposed to use, and that just means that it's actually going to put them onto your character as opposed to trying to actually use them as a skinning knife. So you just do that for each of them, so they all switch to equip like that. And then you're going to put them onto your hotbar like this. So the first one, and then do a longer sleep for this, say 10,000 seconds, 10,000 milliseconds. Put your second one on. Same thing, 10,000 milliseconds. Third one on, 10,000 milliseconds. And fourth one on. Okay, that's 10,000 milliseconds. I think about 4 should be good for the night, but you can always do more if you feel like you might be breaking them all before you actually get back on. You can do a loop on that, and then just save it. So now you can drag this macro down, I believe it was this one, put this on your hotbar. And so what it's going to now do is just cycle through the weapons. And so it's going to every 10 seconds it's going to put a new weapon on, and that way you'll just have more weapons to break over time, because if you just use one weapon, it's only going to last a couple hours before it breaks. So if you want it to last all night, you need to have more weapons. And then all you really need to do is attack the character like that. It's a skinny knife, so it's not going to do a lot of damage. And you can see the other character is being hit, but they're also going to now heal themselves with the heal macro. And that is it. It takes quite a few nights. I'd probably say at least 2 to 3 nights if you want to GM a skill doing this. But again, this is completely AFK, so you don't have to do any work for it. And that's all there is to it.